Yeah, and so I wanted to read this for the audience. So to show that Ashkenazi Jews were called black by Nazis. It says from the middle of the 19th century until the Nazi period, the idea that Jews were multicolored played into the burgeoning idea that if you looked hard enough, all Jews were actually black. They were black in the sense that they had black blood, and they were also black in the most literal sense that their skin was black, even if you could be lulled into thinking it was a kind of white. In my book, Hybrid Hate Conflations of Anti Semitism and Anti Black Racism, from the Renaissance to the Third Reich, I examine assumptions. You hear what he says, assumptions. These are not facts about Jewish color. This includes Sephardic Jews and other Jews for hundreds of years, which culminated in the absolute and foundational Nazi conviction that Jews were quote unquote Negroid. This and so if you look at this, this is a Nazi propaganda poster. Can y'all see it? Do you see how the Nazis were depicting Ashkenazi Jews on the left-hand side and how they depicted their own women on the on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side how they depicted German women? Do you see that? This is a Nazi propaganda poster. You see that? It says, and you guys can see this right here. So a blackface with stereotypically Jewish features, while the text itself attacks the Jews for defilement of Aryan women. Y'all see that? Look at how the Jews depicted. That's an Ashkenazi Jew, right? The skin, it says the color of skin was a minutely studied subject in the 19th century. One of the greatest authorities on pigmentation was the Englishman John Badeau. He had served with distinction in the Crimean War in the British Field Hospital, made famous by Florence Nightingale. And while he was there, did a physical anthropological study of the skins of the multinational population incarcerated in the hospitals of the Dandernoes. He subsequently went on to analyze the eye and hair colors of the peoples of Europe and thereby laid the foundation of the great pigmentation surveys which would be carried out in Germany and elsewhere in Europe in the last decades of the 19th century. One of those achievements was to create a meticulously annotated quote unquote index of nigrescence of the population of Great Britain. Jews scored, meaning the Jews Hebrew Israelites reject, scored fully 100% on his nigrescence index, meaning his index of blackness. An even larger pigmentation study, which involved nearly 7 million school children, was carried out in Germany shortly after German unification in 1871 by the distinguished German scientist Rudolf Virchow. The teachers were provided with a set of instructions that required the children to stand in line with the blondest haired children at one end and the darkest haired children on the other in a continuum of hair color. This way, the children learned that there was a hierarchy of color. In the Virchow study, skin color was quote unquote shown to be a function not only of what was visible, but also of the relationship between hair and eye color. Visible skin color was in fact of no importance for the study. Children were asked to roll up their sleeves to reveal the true color of their arm. In other words, the skin color that you could see with your naked eye was not necessarily the real skin color of the individual. For that, you would have to have some specialized knowledge and partially undress him or her. And there were quote unquote scientific ways of determining what skin color actually was. So this was really pseudoscience, for the record. This is what he means when he puts it in quotation marks, like quote unquote scientific. This fascination with Jewish color came at precisely the point at which emancipation had finally come to the Jews of the Reich. However, it was also the point when the hatred of Jews was being increasingly expressed in not social, religious, or economic, but in racial terms. One of the catalysts for this development being Wilhelm Marr, who in 1879 introduced the term anti-Semitism into the world's political lexicon. Marr had started his political life as an anarchist. He had no particularly anti-Jewish views and in fact had 3 Jewish wives, one of whom he loved a distraction. It was during an extended trip to North America that Marr learned how to be a racist. He'd seen slavery of black people in action and wholeheartedly approved of it. He loathed black people, meaning he hated black people, and soon transferred his contempt for blacks wholesale to Jews. Filled with the views of the racist physical anthropologists of the time, such as the Scottish physician Robert Knox, or Joseph Arthur Gobineau, the French aristocrat who helped develop the theory of the Aryan master race, Marr argued that the blood of the Negro flowed freely in the veins of Jews. Jews, therefore, really were somatically as well as metaphorically the blacks of Europe. What Americans did to blacks, Marr advocated Europeans should now do to Europe's own blacks, the Jews, meaning the same Jews Hebrew Israelites reject. Even before the rise of Nazism, Marr's equation of Jews and blacks started to fill the media of the time. Theodor Frisch, the publisher of the anti-Semitic German magazine Hammer, explained that Jews' loathsome characteristics could only be explained through their, and I'll even say it this way, even though he didn't put it, quote unquote, African ancestry. The acclaimed French novelist and Holocaust denier Louis Ferdinand Céline considered the Jews to be entirely African. Quote, Le Juif est un nègre, la race semite n'existe pas. The Jew is a Negro, the Semitic race does not exist. Now, keep in mind, this guy was anti-Semite. Nazi and fascist race theorists embraced these ideas enthusiastically. There was a broad consensus among Nazi, Vichy French, and Italian fascist anthropologists that there were marked Negroid elements in Jews. These ideas were also present in the United States. The Ku Klux Klan regularly lumped blacks and Jews together. I'll read that one more time. The Ku Klux Klan regularly lumped blacks and Jews together, as did many homegrown American race theorists. In 1910, Dr. Arthur Talmadge Abernathy, the author of some 50 books, published The Jew a Negro, in which he stated categorically that, quote, the Jew of today, as well as his ancestors in other times, is the kinsman and descendant of the Negro, end quote. Much of the inspiration for the discriminatory legal codes enacted against Jews, blacks, and others by the Nazis came from the Jim Crow laws. However, the main problem with the American racial legislation from a Nazi perspective was that Americans did not formally include Jews in the category of quote-unquote coloreds. But in 1934, Roland Freisler, later the presiding judge of the Nazi People's Court, noted that this omission didn't really matter. The American legislation could be used without much modification because, as he put it, quote, any judge would place the Jews along with the coloreds, even though they look outwardly white. Let me read that one more time. This is what this Nazi said. Any judge would place the Jews along with the coloreds, even though they, the Jews, look outwardly white. Hitler argued that Germany had been deliberately negrified, meaning blackened, by the Jews, meaning Ashkenazi Jews, whose intent was to, quote unquote, weaken and destroy German society through racial contamination. In Mein Kampf, he wrote of the Jews, systematically, these Negroid parasites in our national body corrupt our innocent fair-haired girls and thus destroy something that can no longer be replaced in the world, end quote. As Jews today confront the charges of white privilege and lament the deteriorating relationship between African Americans and American Jews since the glory days of Jewish participation in the struggle for civil rights, both groups might dwell for a moment on the thought that the color of Jews and blacks has only recently been uncoupled. The hatred of Jews and the hatred of blacks have a common origin. It is indeed a hybrid hate. And that's the end of the article. Notice that this is Tudor Parfit, the British historian, actual scholar. I thought that you guys might find that interesting. I just wanted to read that, you know. You know what I mean? And I won't repeat what this brother said. He said it. This brother's black, by the way. This brother on his daddy's side, yeah, he got a black man on his daddy's side. So just for the record. Anyways, I would read it, but some Hebrew Israelites don't like to include Latinos in their list of Israelites. So I got to refrain, man. I got to refrain. Even though you and I both know, my good brother, we know the reality about Latinos. We definitely know the reality about our respective people groups, that we are also admixed with the slaves. So, with the people that were taken as slaves to the Americas. So there's that reality. But, some Hebrew Israelites don't know that, and they think in ignorance. So, sometimes you just gotta, you gotta kind of play it safe, if you kind of catch my drift. And, is this Tazarah? Nah, this got to be 93. Stop it. This 93 or this really Tazarah? What's going on, Tazarah? This is Tazarah.
No, yeah, it's really me. What's good, bro?
Tazarah, I want to ask you a question. What is your evidence of being an Israelite?
Well, I actually hopped on to ask you a question about everything
No,
you.
I'm asking the question. So,
Oh, so you don't
what
want
is
to
your
talk
evidence of
about
being an Israelite?
that? Why? Why do you?
Yeah,
Why
we
can't
want to
just
talk
do
about
things?
that because so you are adjacent to the One West perspective, and I said from the jump, and you can actually listen to the live stream that
So
anybody
I.
that comes in here that holds, you notice I'm still talking, right?
Okay, I apologize. Go ahead.
Anybody that's adjacent to the One West viewpoint must demonstrate that they're an Israelite before we get to anything. So, what is your evidence of being an Israelite? And don't think this is going to be short. We're going to be here for a second. What's your evidence?
Actually, I will preface by saying I only have about 15, 20 minutes, but
I
I
know.
will
So
follow. I will
that'll be
follow
enough
the
time
rules.
for us to get into it, I imagine, right?
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
basically, my answer to that would be nobody has 100%
Wait, hold
evidence.
on a second, bro. Hold on, man. Hold on. This thing is. Hold on. I got this other device connected. Hold on. My bad. I don't
So
know why this thing always does it. Yeah, go ahead, man.
So hold on, let me
My
plug
bad.
it.
Go ahead.
You good? You good? So can you hear me? Because I got in an AirPod. I'm not. I
Yeah,
haven't connected my
you're
phone.
good.
All right,
Yeah,
we
you're
good.
good, bro. Yeah, good.
Okay. My
Yeah.
answer to that question would be nobody on this planet, including anybody claiming to be an Israelite, has 100% proof that they are an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All we can do is provide different evidences and try to build our case, and it's whoever has the best case in terms of whether or not people want to believe or not. That's you know, it's I guess it's whoever they believe has the best case. But I would.
Yeah, but but if I could, but you guys don't have a good case because when we've gone over what you call evidence, not only are we showing people that you're misreading sources, misusing sources, but when we deal with the biblical text itself, and I think that should be our primary starting point, you guys are also misreading and misusing passages. So, for example, do you believe that African Americans fit all the
So I gave an answer to your question, and now you're
That's
trying to push it along in a different direction. When I hopped on, I
and I'm
asked you.
still pushing it in the same direction. Do you notice
I
that I asked the question? I'm
you
asking a
didn't.
question.
Okay, hold on. Let me talk for a second. No
No,
disrespect. I'm
I'm
saying I'd
gonna
like to be able to.
I'm asking a question, so I would like an answer to that question.
You
Otherwise, you
asked me a
won't be in the
question. I
stream much
answered. I
longer.
answered. I answered.
All right, let's try this one more time, Tazarah. I'm gonna ask you the question again. I'm gonna ask as many questions as I feel necessary, because we're gonna demonstrate your claim of being an Israelite. So, with that being said, Tazarah, do you believe that African Americans as a people group fit the curses of all the curses of Deuteronomy 28? Yes or no?
Faithful is scared to let me address that whole presentation he just put
I'm
on because
not
he knows
afraid
that I.
to address anything. I think the problem is that you don't want to actually address that question. You notice that you don't want to answer that question. And Tazarah, I'm going to clip this and make a video out of it. So I suggest that you do this now before you embarrass yourself some more. So let's try this one more time. Do you believe African Americans fit all the curses of Deuteronomy 28? Yes or no?
Before I answer
I
that, can
need
I
an answer.
respectfully hold on? I'm gonna answer your question.
No,
I'm not gonna
I
talk about the
hear you not.
presentation. I'm gonna say something else.
I don't care about your something else. Go do it in another live stream. I'm gonna ask one more time. Are you gonna address the question that I asked you? You're not gonna address the question that I asked you? That's what you're
Can you
gonna
hear
do?
me?
You're gonna get your flea on?
Can
Yes,
you hear
I'm
me?
asking. Are you gonna address my question?
Yes, I believe we fit the curses. Now, can I please
No,
respond?
I'm not done. No, I'm not done. Tazarah, you say you fit the curses. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:52. I want you to tell me when this happened to African Americans as a people group under the specific title of African Americans, because you believe the curses are cyclical, right? You believe that over and over, that they don't just in one time, correct?
You kind of cut out for a second, but I think I heard. The,
I'm going to say it one more time. Do you believe that the curses are cyclical, perpetual, and that they're going to keep happening over and over, correct?
you know what? I'm gonna leave. I tried to be respectful, and I tried to ask
Ah,
you a
get out of here,
question.
man. Get out of here, bro. Stop with the crying, bro. So everybody knows I'm gonna take that clip of Tazarah, I'm gonna put it on my channel, and I'm gonna show Tazarah refuses to answer questions. When he gets asked questions, he doesn't like to answer the questions directly. He wants to ask you questions, but he never wants to actually address questions when they're posed to him. That's what he does. He was cornered. That's right, brother Jim Green. That's what happens. And Tazarah indeed holds to the One West perspective. He's not a member of a camp, but he's adjacent to their beliefs. That's crazy, man. Right when I went to ask him a question about Deuteronomy 28:52, when did that happen? He doesn't want to answer that question. Come on, man. That's crazy, bro. I'm sorry. Y'all keep Tazarah in prayer for real. Nah, seriously. Definitely keep him in prayer. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to say to y'all is definitely keep Tazarah in prayer. I highly suggest that you keep the other people, not the other people, the other gentlemen, because there were only two people that came in here, that you keep both him and Tazarah in prayer. Yeah, Tazarah definitely needs prayer. Keep all these folks in prayer that the Lord would open up their eyes to the deception that they're in. Let me see. Yeah, you right, sis. Wow, indeed. Yep. But anyways, if we could, I think we've been going for 2 hours. Unless we get another Hebrew Israelite that comes up in here, I think we might have to shut this one down and keep it up. And it'll be interesting to see if we can finally get, at some point in the future, a Hebrew Israelite willing to stand on their square. So, nah, Tazarah, you had your chance. You had your chance, sir. Be on the lookout for the video. I'm going to have a clip of your appearance on here. I hope you will enjoy your lack of answers, and people will learn that you don't like to actually address questions. Maybe next time, Tazarah, maybe next time when you get some act right, we'll let you back in here, and maybe you can actually answer some questions, you know? Yep, that's right, man. I'm telling you, these guys don't know what to do when they get directly cornered. They want to get you in some soliloquy where they get to ask you a million questions and then you never actually press them. Nah, fam. We don't do that around here. Prove that you're an Israelite, demonstrate that you're an Israelite, then we'll get to everything else. If you can't demonstrate it, then already your worldview has crumbled. It's as simple as that. You know? Notice that dude didn't want to even get into the topic of the curses. Any other time, he loves the curses. He likes to get into all this other stuff until he gets cornered on a platform where the host knows how to ask him the right questions. It's crazy, man. Shout out to the brothers and sisters who came through and showed love. So with that, another live stream on Friday. If not, then I will definitely have something uploaded that I think you brothers and sisters will enjoy. Regardless, I appreciate you. For those who celebrate Thanksgiving, I definitely hope that you guys will, I definitely hope that you guys will, enjoy and appreciate the videos that are being uploaded, the live streams, and that you'll share them with those that you love. And yeah, I just want to let you guys know that the love is appreciated. I definitely appreciate the love and the support. So with that being said, we're gonna end it here, and we'll keep doing these live streams, and eventually, hopefully, we'll pull more people out of this false doctrine that these guys are holding to. So with that being said, God bless you all. I hope this has edified someone out there. And until next time, take care. God bless you all.